Good morning, my name is Liz. I'm one of your Flik registered dietitians, and today I'm going to be making a homemade pumpkin pie with maple whipped cream. So you might be asking why a dietitian is making pie, and I'm here to tell you that all foods fit. It's getting to be fall, so we are really excited about pumpkin season here, and making your own pie is a great way to control the ingredients. And not have to worry about artificial flavors or additives or anything like that. So it's a pretty simple ingredient list that we have today. So bear with me and we'll kind of go through them. So the first thing we need to do is I just purchased some already done pie crust. These are available in your freezer section. I did get a deep dish, or if you can find a 10-inch pie crust, that would work too. I could only find 9-inch, so I just got a deep one. We are going to be using 2 whole eggs, some sugar, brown sugar, and some pure maple syrup, which we're going to use in the pie and also in the whipped cream topping. You need some canned pumpkin. Pumpkin is a really great ingredient. It's a low-calorie food. It's also high in fiber and vitamin A, and has other antioxidants in it, so it's a great addition to your diet. We're gonna need a little bit of kosher salt. And then this pie did call for quite a few spices that I did not have on hand. So I'm gonna be using pumpkin pie spice today because it did call for ground ginger, ground cinnamon, and allspice, which are all in pumpkin pie spice. And then it called for some cloves, so I bought some of that. And then in addition to the pumpkin pie spice, it did call for coriander, which I don't have on hand, but the pumpkin pie spice has nutmeg in it, so that should do just fine. And then we are going to need some half and half and heavy whipping cream. Again, both of those are going to go into the pie, and then we're gonna use some of the leftover heavy cream for the topping. So these are all of your ingredients that we're going to use today, and we'll get started. Okay, so we have all of our ingredients measured, and now we are going to make the pie filling. So in my medium-sized mixing bowl, I have my maple syrup, my white traditional granulated sugar, brown sugar, pumpkin pie spice. I did 2 teaspoons of that, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground clove, 1/8 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. To that, we're going to add 2 whole eggs that I've just lightly scrambled. And then we're gonna add some more liquid here. So we have half a cup of half and half and half a cup of heavy whipping cream. And then we are going to add our pumpkin. So we need 1 1/3 cups of a pumpkin puree. So that's just about the whole can here. This was just this was a 15-ounce can of pumpkin, and it's just about used the whole can, but don't throw out that leftover pumpkin. There's plenty of uses for it. You can mix it in to oatmeal in the morning with a little bit of cinnamon. That would be a great fall breakfast. If you're making muffins or something like that, you can substitute the oil for some canned pumpkin and give it more flavor and cut the fat. So that's a great tip. So I am going to add in my pumpkin, going to whisk it all together. And then we're gonna put it into our pre-made pie shell. So I have my pie shell, it's still frozen from the freezer, and I do have that on just a baking tray lined with some foil for 2 reasons. One, I am horrible at moving things in and out of the oven, so it prevents me from spilling it there, and it's also easier to take it out. And then I do have my oven preheating. I have a convection setting on mine, so I use the convection, and we're preheating to 300 degrees. If you don't have convection, just regular bake, preheat your oven for 300. So I'm gonna get my ingredients mixed up and then pour it into my pie shell, and we will put it into the oven. Okay, so my pumpkin filling is all whisked together. Don't be alarmed if it seems a little thin. That's just the consistency we are looking for. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this right into my pie shell. And perfect. Wow, that was really perfect. It comes right to the top. This is why it's really important when you're baking to follow the recipe. I sometimes have trouble with that because I like to cook where you can kind of, add and subtract as needed. But baking, there is a method to the madness. So here is our pie. Once your oven is preheated, you're gonna pop it into that 300-degree oven for about 50 to 60 minutes. You just want the center to be cooked through. Make sure it's not too jiggly. So I will show you what that looks like when it's done. And while it's baking, we will start making the maple whipped cream topping. Okay, so while our pie is baking in the oven, we are gonna go ahead and make the maple whipped cream for the top of our pie. So in my large bowl here, I have 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, and then I've added, instead of traditional powdered sugar, which we often use for whipped cream, today we're gonna use pure maple syrup. That's gonna give it just a little bit of a more depth of flavor, but it's still going to sweeten it just the same way. So I've added 2 tablespoons plus 2 teaspoons of maple syrup to my cream, and I'm going to use my hand mixer here and just beat this until firm peaks form. Okay, so as you can see, we have nice peaks that have formed in our whipped cream. So once our pie is fully cooled, I will show you how to plate this up. Here is our fully baked pie. As you can see, it's fully set, so there's really no more jiggling. When you take it out of the oven, the center might look a little bit jiggly when you tap it, but it should be nice and set. So here is our finished product, and then we're going to top it with our whipped cream. Okay, so our pie is cooled and our delicious whipped cream is all ready to go. I actually added a pinch of sea salt to mine because I love a little salt with everything sweet. So this pie should give you about 8 slices, but it is pie, so who's counting? So this is just how to serve it up. Just give yourself a nice piece of pie and then a nice hefty dollop of our maple whipped cream. And I think you are really going to like this recipe. So if you're interested in more recipes or a little bit more about us, follow us at Flik Hospitality on all of our social media channels, and we look forward to cooking with you soon.